even in grad school, I decided to join the Episcopal Church, and I thought about becoming a priest. It's been a journey, and then ultimately left the church altogether and stopped everything, stopped spirituality, stopped religion, I stopped it all. And after a few years, just had this calling to come back into myself. I really had a calling to just come back into that space for myself and look into what does all of this mean for me. And ultimately, it just led me on a journey of self-discovery and self-love for me, which has been a beautiful, beautiful process.
Sophics and allies, you're listening to Queer Women Rising. That's women with an X because we are inclusive here. When we hear the stories of queer women who have gone before us, we see evidence that there's nothing we can't do. And yes, we can too. It's time for you to level up in life, in love, and step into your most authentic, abundant reality. You won't be the same after this episode. It's your turn to let go of good for greatness. Your best life is now loading. Let's rise.
Let's rise.
Let's rise.
Let's rise.
Let's rise.
Let's rise.
Let's rise. Welcome back to Queer Women Rising. Lesbians, queer women, what does it truly take to love, to accept yourself, especially when society and culture makes it so freaking hard? Over 15 years ago, Britt began her journey towards self-love and acceptance as a spiritual queer woman of color from the South. We're like from the same area. She has to face deep-rooted shame and anxiety, though, because man, oh man, they lay it on thick here, like the Southern gravy, to become the confident woman that she is today. Now Britt's helping other LGBTQ women overcome their own obstacles to live authentically. Today, we're going to dive into Britt's story of growth, which is something I think we'll all be able to relate to, because none of our stories have been a linear path to figuring out who we are, especially when you come from the South. We're going to be talking about the biggest obstacles facing queer women today and how we will move beyond these limiting beliefs, how we will break chains that the generations before us couldn't break, but we will become the powerful women that we are meant to be. Welcome to the show, Britt. Let me go ahead and get you in here. How do I accept you? Britt, can you send a request to join? Oh, I've been waiting for this conversation. I'm so excited. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the show. While we're waiting for Britt, how's your day? Hey.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you.
Likewise, I'm so excited to be here with you.
Where are
I've
you
been looking
coming
forward
from
to this
today?
day.
Are you in Louisiana or?
I'm not. I'm actually in Houston today.
Okay. I love it.
Yep.
Well, I'm so excited to hear from you. I want to hear your story. I know that it couldn't be easy because you're from where I'm from.
I am. Yes. Born and bred. I love when you said the Southern gravy. I was like, oh boy, yes.
Lay on all that shame thick for us like gravy. It's hard to get rid of.
Oh my gosh, yes. But yeah, I mean, like you, I'm from Louisiana, and this has been a journey for me. I grew up in the Catholic Church, as many Louisianians do. I always said that it's not a religion in Louisiana. It is deeply rooted in our culture.
It is.
And yeah, and so just coming from that background and that perspective, it was a journey for me, and it's been a journey for me, and as well as my clients, and just seeing what they have to navigate and what they have to go through in order to become themselves and be authentic. And for me, I was definitely like, I went to Catholic school. I went to Catholic university. I went to Catholic university in graduate school. Like, I was doing it all, to the point of even decided that I might want to become a nun. But then I realized it was actually to look for a girlfriend. So I had to rethink why I wanted to be a nun, which is hilarious.
I love it. I joke about that often.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot find a girlfriend. Maybe I should just, I don't know, join the church and be a nun. It's like, oh boy, these are not the right reasons. Um, but afterwards, even in grad school, I decided to join the Episcopal Church, and I thought about becoming a priest. And so, so it's been a journey, and then ultimately left the church altogether and just started this, well, stopped everything, stopped spirituality, stopped religion, I stopped it all. And um, after a few years, just had this calling to come back into myself and look at whatever you want to call that source energy, whether that's God, the universe, Jesus, Allah, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it for yourself. But I really had a calling to just come back into that space for myself and look into what does all of this mean for me. And ultimately, it just led me on a journey of self-discovery and self-love for me, which has been a beautiful, beautiful process.
I love it. What, like, if you could sum it up in one sentence, I don't even know if that's possible, but like, what is it for you? Like, we'll go deeper, but it's just like, after all this time of uncovering, unlearning, and then placing the blocks that you want your space to be, you want your rock, your strength to be, what does that look like, Britt?
I don't know if it's one sentence as much as it's one question right now. And the question I constantly come back to and ask myself, and some of the work that I do with my coaches is the question that I always ask is, what am I doing? And is this supportive for Britt? How is this supporting Britt on her journey? And if I can ask that question and I can say, okay, how is this supporting me? Supporting me this way. Is this supportive? The answer is yes. Then I move and I lean into it. If the answer is this is not supporting me and the answer is no, then I'm like, okay, then I need to figure out another path.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, so what have you come to, and then maybe we'll work in reverse from there. So like,
Okay.
what is the path? Are you completely not religious? Do you hold some things? Like, what does that look like for you? Safe space to share.
It's funny that we're having this conversation because I've been having this conversation a lot this week.
Let's do it again.
I know. It's everything, right? I feel like it's everything. I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning, and do you ever get that moment where you're like, okay, well, usually it's like around, I'm very connected to the numbers 333. So usually around that time, I'm like popping up and I'll
Yep.
fight it, and this morning I just said, you know what? No, I'm not fighting this. I'm pulling out my journal and I just need to write. And I did this whole thing about love and transmuting lower vibrational energy into a space of love and what that looks like and why we as humanity have to, in some essence, connect with a higher source and connect with that entity and that being. And then also bring that down into what we know, because not all the time can we connect with that being, because it's hard for us as we evolve, with social media and cutting ourselves off and just the busyness of our lives. It's so hard for us to connect with what we cannot see, touch, taste, feel, all of these things, right? So I had this whole thing about it. And I was like, but at the same time, we can, like, because that energy is there and whatever that is for you. And so I connect with all of it because I believe all of it holds a foundation for connecting to ourselves. And I also believe that as we connect with whatever that is, or even if we're struggling to connect with that, we can connect with people, we can connect with individuals that will remind us of that connectedness with that source energy. So yeah, I had a conversation. I was literally just writing this to I do it's called REM sessions. It's regenerating images and memories. And there's a lot of deep subconscious work. And so I was having a conversation with my practitioner yesterday and we were talking about it. And I was telling her today, I was actually in the process of texting her before I hopped on this call. And I said, it's so funny. I said, I literally talked to an atheist, my atheist friend from India this weekend, who said like, everything that we're connected with is all our mind. And then I work with a psychic medium in the UK. So I said, I talked to him and he was telling me about like his belief in aliens and how like aliens and other galaxies are connecting with us and trying to get our attention. And then I'm talking yesterday just in the context of like Jesus and spirituality and religion and the belief around how Jesus holds this love for us, but there are darker entities that might sort of veer us away from that path of love. And I was like, oh, this is so interesting. It's all fun.
I know. I'm like, The more I know, the more I don't know.
Exactly.
And I feel like the more you just educate yourselves, it's hard to say like this one thing. I think we were both taught like this one thing is the only thing.
Yes.
But I believe in one thing, and that one thing for me is love and unity. And like you were saying before, like, is that question supporting? Is it supporting? So I go, is this actually bringing more love into the world for myself and for others? Because if it's just for yourself, it does not come from a good higher power,
Mm-hmm.
right? It needs to benefit you and others. And that's the check-in with yourself. And if your religion or your belief system doesn't affect your actions to be led with more love and more integrity, then that's where you'd question things.
Exactly, Sophia. And that was the conclusion after all this. I was like, well, still the universal language is love.
Mm.
No matter what culture, what ethnicity, what religion, what any belief system is, that's still the universal language. And so I was like, oh, okay. And then, I'm kind of like a kid after that. I'm like, okay, well, let me go play. Let me go hop on this podcast now.
I love it. I love it. Perfect timing. So good. Okay, let's backtrack. Let's hear your story and like what you identify as a queer woman now, but like how long did it take for you to come out? Let's get into it, Britt.
Oh, yeah. I I grew up, like I said, I was in the Catholic Church. I went to Catholic school, and the fun part, I just laugh because it reminds me of like all the typical lesbian movies where you're like, I got an all girl Catholic school. That was me. That's how I realized.
I love it. My mom always told me I was homeschooled, and she was like the only school that I would want you to go to because there was just a lot of like drugs and stuff nearby. She'd be like, but if I put you in Catholic school, it would have to be an all girl school, but you become a lesbian if I put you there.
Yeah, you do.
What one did you go to? What one did you go to?
I went to St. Joseph's in Baton Rouge.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah. I used
Mhm.
to nanny kids that went there. So that's amazing. I freaking love it.
That's hilarious.
What a nice school,
Oh
though.
my
Like
God, it's
fancy.
beautiful. So I didn't start out there. I didn't get in the first year actually. I went to this other school. It's no longer there, but it's called Redemptorist, but they shut it down. That was like, I don't know, that was like public school in Plaid. Same thing, like a lot of drugs, things like that. And so
Public school in Blood. That is.
yes, that's what they jokingly called it. And so people always questioned me, but I didn't
Yeah.
know, like, because like even in junior high, like I remember having this, like kids would come up to me because they were like, oh yeah, I loved basketball. So I had like this basketball binder, like the feeling of a basketball. I played ball. I, had basketball pencils. I wore Jordan. Like I was just like, oh my God, my clothes were too big. And so people always questioned, but I just didn't. I was just like, I didn't know, like you don't know what you don't know. And so I remember having like my religion teacher one time, like teach us about homosexuality or something. And then she gave this story about like, as she was 16 and she liked this girl, but she realized like she just didn't know. And so she just realized like she just hadn't met the right guy kind of thing.
Oh
And
my
so,
gosh. We need to pray
yes,
for her.
right,
We need to
right.
pray for her.
I still think about her to this day. I'm like, I wonder if she ever figured it out.
God, I hope so. I
I
bet
hope
she's living her best lesbian life now
I
with a
hope
cat
so. I
in the
hope so.
garden
Right, with
district.
multiple cats.
In the garden district with like some rainbow chimes on her cute little house porch.
Please. Yes, yes. And so it was funny because like the next year, it was kind of the same thing when I went to public school in Platt. I had this one teacher who I knew she was, it was starting to like make more sense. So then people were teasing us because they would call me, I won't say her name, but my name, I would go by BB. So they would say like, oh, you're basically her name's bitch kind of thing. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh,
And so she sort of made this extra effort to make it a point that she was dating men, but I knew she wasn't, and I think she knew she saw something else in me. So we would kind of connect, and I would get really uncomfortable, and I was like, I don't think I can, like, I need to go. And but then of course the next year when I got into St. Joseph's and went there, it took about a year, it took a little over a year, but by my junior year I fell in. There was this girl with these beautiful blue eyes, and something about those blue eyes, I was just like, I could not get over her, and I could not get her out of my head. And at that point, I was like, luckily we had Google at that time, and every girl had a laptop, so I had a laptop, and I was like, what is going on? So I was able to put words to the process, and so of course, as a lot of people, yeah, it was like, am I bisexual? You know, because I think those were the only words at that time, like bisexual, lesbian. So I was sort of toying with that. And then I came out in college as a lesbian and lived my life as a lesbian for many, many years until recently when I've had to go back to the drawing board and just re-question. And finally I was like, you know what? I think an umbrella term of queer is just so perfect for me because I kind of play around with my gender identity. I've noticed just how I connect with people differently on just such a different level, whether they're, you know, cisgender women, you know, people of trans experience, you know, people who are non-binary. So it's hard for me to say, okay, a cisgender woman is my person. I mean, I am married to a cisgender woman, but there are definitely amazing people out there. So I just go by queer at this
100%.
point.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I never stopped to think about it that way, that how the type of person you're attracted to could determine which letter of the alphabet soup you cling to, which one feels best for
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I freaking love that. I'm curious though, I'm nosy. Have you ever been attracted to someone who wasn't non-binary, but who was actually like male presenting, like, or a cis male? Have you ever?
Have I ever been attracted to a cis male?
Yeah.
Mm, oh
Okay.
yeah. And male presenting? Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm always curious to know. I'm like, I know that in the
Mm,
past, I think I was more attracted to what I believe society told me I needed from a man, which
yeah.
was like security and whatnot. I don't think I was ever really attracted to like the body of a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you say that too, because I find that to also be true. Like in my relationship now, if I think about my wife, she is very much male energy. Like sometimes I'm like, did I marry a man? You know, because it is like I met her and it was like that security, that
Mm.
sort of like, okay, this is very grounding for me because I can tend to have more of a feminine energy that I need to balance, right?
Yeah.
Um, but as I've just really tapped into myself more. I ever been with a cisgender man? No, I've never. Could I? I'm not sure. It's just one I don't know, and I don't want to say like absolutely no because I don't want to cut myself off.
Yeah.
But at this place and space in my life, not no, probably not. But yeah, I find men attractive. I find like people of trans experience attractive. I find like yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I think trans experience is gloriously attractive.
Hmm.
I just, if someone like presents as a man, cis or not, I'm just like, no, because I love the feminine.
Yeah,
I'm like
yeah.
all about it.
It is something beautiful about it. I have to say, even being with my wife, I there's still something about, and I mean, I know with the folks that you work with, it's it's more just monogamous relationships. So my wife and I are in an open
Oh,
relationship, and so it's giving me the
really?
yes, yes, we
I'm
recently did it.
nosy.
I know. It's fascinating. It's taken us a while. Like it's taken us some time, and it was really something that happened within me, with a person near you, actually, which is I was like, oh, that's funny. A very feminine person,
Oh my
feminine
God.
in every aspect, and so it took me by surprise, and I had to come to terms with that within myself. Like, what does this mean? And then, of course, once I did that, I was like, okay, now I have to be honest with what this means for
Yeah.
everybody else. So it was like, now I have to have a conversation with this person. Now I have to have a conversation with my wife. And no matter where it goes, I still have to be okay with myself. And
Are
so
we gonna have
it's,
like a triple double date one day?
who knows? Who knows? I have no idea. Anything in this world is possible. And so right now it's just been this has just been a journey for me, and a really painful journey too. I mean, over the last this I came out again. Again, I guess. And that's when you're like, well, when did you come out? It's like I'm always coming out. I came out again, and that was probably of course, in COVID 2020, when everybody was sitting with themselves and you had to really get truthful with
Yeah.
this.
No.
Yes.
Well, I love that we're having this conversation though, because there is a misconception that I must hate polyamorous people or something because my dating
No.
platform is only to
Yeah.
help monogamous people. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to say real quick. I have so many poly friends, and then also I thought like that's how I came out. I came out as polyamorous. I was gonna stay with a man, try to make
Yeah.
that work. But I realized through that process that I was truly solely a lesbian,
Yeah.
and that like monogamy is the only way because someone would lose a hand if they touched my woman. So it's
Exactly. And
different though, I hear. Is that true? Like for you, is it different where you're able to truly not experience those feelings, or do you still experience them and manage them different?
you still experience them, and that's actually the process. That's what I'm learning, and that's what it's so fun working with my clients, because I have clients also, it's kind of the same thing. A lot of my clients who were married to men, or who are, because I have clients who are still married to men, they come out and they open their relationship because they don't want to lose that security of the relationship.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is something for them to explore, but we don't know, and I'm not the person to say this is for you, this is not for you. It's okay, let's explore what might be an avenue for you to take, and you can decide from there,
Yeah.
right? And so some of my clients, one of my clients, that was actually the case for her. She was with a man, they started out polyamorous. They ended up breaking up, they got divorced, and she decided that she wanted to start dating women. And now she is, luckily, but when she came to me, she had broken up with her girlfriend like 40 times because she just had so much shame around being with a woman and her religious beliefs and all of that. And since we worked together, it's been beautiful because now they've moved in together, they're living together, they're a perfectly happy monogamous couple, and hopefully I'll be at their wedding next year. So,
Oh,
yes. So
I love that.
it's interesting, and I've been doing just a lot of work around like attachment styles, and there's this really great book called Polysecure that talks about it, and how um, non-monogamy, ethical non-monogamy, I'll say that is actually inherently insecure. And so and I've experienced this just within myself, as in my just transition into what it looks like to go out and explore, and maybe meet somebody who is also exploring this side of themselves. And so um it's it there's like two parts that she talks about, and one of it is around your attachment styles. Do you have an anxious attachment, or disorganized attachment, whatever that might look like for you, avoidant, whatever that looks like. So you have your own attachment style that you bring into it, and the idea is to work through it, transmute that into more of a secure attachment. But then there's also another part of it that's like primal panic. So when somebody does enter into the relationship, it literally almost challenges the very foundation of who you are, and that need for love and support. And that's where you can get that, like you said, I get upset if somebody comes and tries to take my woman, because it's not all jealousy. It's actual a panic of like the loss of human connectedness.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so it's fascinating work, just even within my own journey, and then also just learning from my clients as well. Because I always say, y'all are here and I'm working with you and I'm helping you love yourself, but at the same time, you're teaching me. So it's fun. Yeah.
What is like the expert area that you work with? Is it polyamory? What is your focus of coaching?
So now it's shifting. I have a lot of folks who've come to me just with a lot of internalized shame, and now it's really just focusing primarily on healthy relationships and attracting healthy relationships. And that looks different for everybody. So I do have clients who are not in relationships. I have clients who are just looking to accept. Most of my clients are always coming to me to love and accept themselves, because that's first and foremost. And so whatever that looks like for them. Some of them have gone through breakups and they're needing that extra support. Some of them need the support around who they are, how they identify before they can go out. I have clients who are monogamous. I have clients who are non-monogamous. So one of the questions I do ask anybody who's going to join my program is, are they open to just in being accepting of all types of people that come into my programs? I want to make sure that nobody feels discriminated against, and they have a safe place where they can come.
I love it. I love it. So now that you've helped so many people and you're around so many different types of relationships and identities, what do you what can you identify as the biggest hurdles that we have to get through as queer women?
Shame.
Okay, real quick, I need to tell you about WISP, an online healthcare service that is for the girls, gays, theys, and me. In fact, for 3 years, they have been a part of my daily regimen. I know many of you listening long to create beautiful, women loving women relationships. And that, my dears, begins with excellent kitty care. Like, no offense, I don't know about you, but I personally don't want to be at a kitty cat cafe, if you know what I mean, that doesn't provide the freshest dessert for me to lick. So do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, and keep your kitty cat cafe fresh. With WISP, everything from the consult to receiving meds is done from the comfort of your phone, and the company is proud of being inclusive, cost-effective, and accessible for everyone. WISP believes that you know your body better than anyone else, which means no more urgent care visits for issues such as UTIs, yeast infections, or STI treatment. You can save so much time not going to in-person appointments or waiting in line at pharmacies. The free shipping will save you so much time. Or same-day pharmacy pickup can have you feeling better faster. Before WISP, I was prone to getting BV, but my kitty pH balance stays perfect. Chef's kiss now that I am on a consistent probiotic regimen. Ladies, this is so important. Personally, I subscribe monthly to WISP probiotics, Sexy Time Lube, and OMG cream. It's like female Viagra. I also get D-mannose and boric acid vaginal suppositories as needed, so I'm prepared if something starts to fill off down there. Also, if you're about to meet a new partner from my lesbian dating platform, you definitely want to be tested before sleeping with someone new. You can order discreet online testing from your bed before you jump into bed. Go to the link in the show notes to learn more, or go to hellowisp.com and use my code SOPHIA for 15% off. That's code SOPHIA, SOPHIA, for 15% off all your kitty needs. You're welcome. Okay, back to the show.
It all boils down to shame. And
how do we even identify, like, when we're feeling that?
When the way that I usually put shame with my clients is it is an identity. So when we think about guilt as like Catholic guilt, Catholic guilt or any type of guilt is an action. It's something that you've done that you need to right. Like you need to right a wrong, right? Like, so for instance, maybe you're driving and you accidentally get road rage and you cut somebody off, but then you catch yourself and you realize, oh my gosh, I did that. Like, feel bad about doing that. Like that's an action that you did that you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, oh, I'll usually like, I'm so sorry, or like you got upset with your mom or something and you just kind of lashed out, and then you go back and you're like, oh my gosh, I just feel so bad that I just yelled at them. That's guilt, right? And then when we think about like guilt, shame, blame, things like that. Blame is obviously, putting that on other people. Like they did this to me. This thing happened to me. But then when we think about shame, shame runs deep. So it becomes an identity, and it's, I am this. I am worthless. I am unworthy of love. I am not lovable. And so I get a lot of people coming to me with these ideas around who they think they're supposed to be as women, because what we've been taught, especially in a compet society, right? So they believe that a lot of times they cannot inherently like do something for themselves, whether that's feel pleasure or feel joy, or especially if they have children, it's like everything is put towards the marriage and the children, and there's nothing for me. So inherently, I feel guilty or I feel bad for doing something for myself. And so I have to work through and untangle a lot of that internalized shame of this being a person's identity versus, hey, maybe this is just something you've been taught. This is a belief, and you've had over, however many years, 40 years, I always tell them you're an expert in these beliefs right now. You've had 40 years experience beating yourself up and telling yourself you're unworthy and you're unlovable. And I said, like, it takes about 10,000 hours to become an expert in something. And we're just getting started. Hour number 1, let's go. Let's start. How do we untangle this?
It's so interesting what you said about shame and identity. I think that's why, in particular, queer people struggle because we're literally shamed for our identities.
Yeah.
And I wish it was something I could change. To be honest, I know if I wasn't gay, I could be living a housewife life. I would not. I'd wake up every day and be a Pilates princess. Now I'm a Pilates princess and I might work till midnight. Like I've got a business to run,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
An empire to build. And I would love to just be in my feminine. You know, I hope that one day I can sell and do do that. That's the goal.
I agree, Sophie. I'm like, if I had a man where he's just taking care of me and I could just go play tennis every day and like hang out with my friends,
We would be the cutest. We would be the cutest in our tennis skirts. I'm just saying, come hang out. You know where I live. Just come hang out and we'll like pretend to play tennis one day.
I would not be surprised if I've seen you. If I know where you hang out, if I think I know where you hang out, I would not be surprised if we like cross paths because I've been there. The coffee shop. I'm like, girl, I've hung out at this coffee shop.
I live at that coffee shop. Like they might as well take credit for helping me build my business because
I
my
spent
gosh.
way too much time in that area. I'm not gonna even talk
Oh,
about it.
okay, wait. Now I'm nosy. Is it because of the relationship?
Perhaps.
There's
I'm
so many secretly gay women in my little area. Like so many. Like
well,
the
this one,
older women in the closet.
unfortunately, yeah, this one's not. I don't know if they're. Well, I'm still figuring it out, and who knows? We'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping we'll see one day. That's all I'll say.
Okay. All I have to say is looking at you, how could anyone not fall in love with you? Like you're gorgeous. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So yeah, she's gay now. She wasn't gay then, she's gay now.
That's probably why she won't talk to me.
Oh my god, no.
You know how it is. You know they have to run when they're questioning, and I'm like, you go,
Oh,
boo.
there's
It's
a
okay.
lady like in my neighborhood who literally like I told her how I felt. She gave me a kiss. She was like, "We have to figure this out. I've never felt like this for a woman. Like I felt like you." And the next day she said, "There's stuff on my front porch for you." She blocked me and put every little like casual gift I had gotten her. Like I think one day she said she needed Advil or something. I brought her some Advil. She had that on the porch. It was
Yeah,
crazy talk.
yeah. It's and this is it's funny because this is why I love this work too, especially when women are starting the process of coming out and they're married to men. Because I'm like, I've been on the receiving side of that, right? Just like you said, they left this and they blocked me. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know what it's like to experience that fear and the running and the religious guilt and the shame. And although I was not that woman, I've never been with a man. My wife has been with men. I don't, the experience was a little bit different for her, but just being on the other side with this person has given me so much perspective and so much compassion because I know how difficult it can be to admit that to yourself.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and it's just like, all right, let's like when you're ready. And I tell people all the time, when you're ready, like I'm here.
Oh
Like let's figure this out.
and they need you because it's a hard process and like having someone to be by your side through it, having a coach, I can't imagine what that would have done for my life. At the time I wasn't financially able to even think about that and I didn't
Yeah,
really know that those coaches existed, but that's why I shared my story over and over because it's like, and I want to give everyone who coaches in this a platform to come on Queer Women Rising and say like you can get through this, and
yeah,
I'm skilled to walk you through it because it's hard, especially when you're like financially entangled with the man. Jesus,
yeah,
rough
yeah, yeah,
business.
yeah.
Okay, well, we need to talk after this because
Yes, yes.
I'm a little nosy. Anyway, am I are you dating my ex girlfriend at this point? Like that's what I want to know.
I am dating no one. I am dating
Okay.
myself.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that. The rest we can talk offline. But I'll leave it at that. I'm dating me. I'm loving me right now. Even my wife knows. I just got off the phone with her and she's like, I'm really struggling and I'm really like not connecting with people right now. And I'm like, yeah. And I said, well, it might be a good time for you to go inward, like do some internal work. Cause she's in Chicago. We've been going back and forth in our marriage for the last 3.5 years. And so yeah, and so we're in the process of moving back in together, and I am doing a lot of internal work to to bring this connection back together, because I think we can do amazing things. And so when she called me today and she's just like, I'm struggling, like, good, sit in that. Let's sit through that, because there's something that is being shown to you right now. And I just feel like I tell people I changed. I just recently changed my offer to, helping women with shame to,
Well, let's talk about it, because as a coach,
yeah,
I love this.
right. And so shame does not seem to connect with women because we just don't know that we even have it. And so it
Exactly.
is around, so it's around helping women attract healthy relationships. And that can be anything for you. And so um, the interesting thing is, well, a lot of people are coming to me, going through breakups and things like that, or on the verge of breaking up. So I'm getting a lot of that. But even just within my own marriage and my own relationship, I just look at it and I smile, because I really told people what I did. People would be like, what? And so I tell my clients, but really the thing that I do is I help queer women step in, like, raise their consciousness and step into their power. Because I feel like we are freaking powerful people when we can own who we are.
So good. It's so good. And I love talking about offers all day because I'm a business coach. That's why I started the dating platform. But what you're speaking to it's you can't, and what you've realized is you can't speak to the problem that they don't know they have. They
Exactly.
don't even know they have it. It's kind of like having symptoms of a cold, but not knowing that what happened in 2020 existed. So you don't know what to call it, but you've got this cold.
Yeah,
And what are we going to do about it? And you coming alongside and being like, here's the protocol we're going to go through to heal.
exactly.
That's beautiful and powerful. So I know we can't go on forever, but if they were to take one step, what would be that first step of just slapping shame down? Because it comes up and it is insidious. You don't know that's what it is, and it affects everything, every freaking
Yeah,
relationship
yeah,
possible.
yeah. Take a mirror, hold it up to your face. If you don't have a mirror, you have a selfie camera. Hold it up and look at yourself and just listen to those thoughts. And if they're beating you up, allow yourself to cry and see if there's one word, one sentence that you can say to change it, even if it's, you know what, I'm learning to love myself.
Mm,
That would be, I mean, I am a person that faces everything head on. And so if shame is coming up for me to this day, I mean, shame will still come up for me. I will go straight to my mirror and I will ask myself again, what is supportive for Britt? Is this supportive? If it's not, then what do I need to do to shift that?
yeah.
And if that means I'm sitting in my mirror, like on the floor in tears, and I think I've even posted videos of me. I'm like, no, I still cry. I'm still staring in the mirror in tears. Like, if that's what it takes, great, own it. Be there, because your body's your soul is speaking to you.
And when we hear those things, so we can even identify what are the things that maybe clients have told you they hear when they look in the mirror before they have those healed thoughts come in. Like,
Oh, I hate myself. I'm not lovable. I'm unworthy. Then it becomes, or it can be very like physical things like I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm not beautiful, I'm not this. Anything that comes after I'm not, I can't, or even anything that comes after the word I am. And if it hurts you, if it hurts your heart afterwards, it is quite possible that that is a belief that you have.
yeah,
And that's something that you have to start to shift. So, what are
yeah.
you saying after I am? Even my clients that say, I am depressed, I, I, I am anxious. I'm like, oh, you are depressed? That is you? Really? So now you're living into that.
So good. I caught myself. It had been a really hard month for me, not gonna lie. I caught myself yesterday. I think I was listening to something, I think it was Oprah, but she said she had someone on that was like talking about I am. And that's been some words that I've been using in marketing for like since last February. I did a master class on I am. And I hadn't thought about it. I did the master class and then I never thought
Mm-hmm.
about it again. And so what you're saying is so interesting that you bring that up today, just so synchronicitous, because I'm like, that is, I had to catch myself. even after all the work I've done and all that I do with clients on mindset to help them build their businesses or find love, I still was telling myself, well, I'm depressed. Because
Yeah.
I never felt depression like that in so long. It was a hard
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
And yesterday I was like, no, ma'am, no, you are not depressed.
Yeah.
Like you are blessed and highly favored and loved and protected and strong and will overcome, like all these replacement
Mm-hmm.
thoughts. But it's taken years to even be able to have those replacement thoughts ready to go. And even after all the work, I let myself tell myself bad words after I am for a few weeks.
Yeah. And I was checking on you during that time. I was thinking about you. I was like, Sophia, you
I was
okay?
not okay, girl. I was
Yeah.
not okay.
Yeah.
And right now we're
Yeah.
still feeling the effects. Like
Yeah.
yeah, so we can go into that
Yeah.
another time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and I think we all fall into it, right? We all, and as I tell my clients, I say it's a spiral, and it doesn't mean that it's a good or bad or positive or negative. It's just a spiral, and the thing that I teach with them is around like emotions and an emotional scale. And so it's like sometimes we spiral into lower vibrational emotions, and that's where we'll get into like I am depressed or I am this, and we'll fall into that victim mode again. And I said, but that's okay. It's a spiral because once you know you're there and you accept it you're there, you can start to slowly go back and spiral the other way again. And that's okay. So it's all okay, right? And but I always say I'm like the most powerful words you can say in the English language comes after the words I am. And that will tell you everything you need to know about where you are right now and either where you're going to stay if you don't do anything about it or where you have the potential to move into if you decide to own it, accept it, and then move beyond that. And it sounds like that's what you were doing there. It's like, okay, I'm hearing it, I'm catching myself. Now what do I need to do to take the steps to get out of it? And sometimes that might take a month, a day, a year, may take many years, but as you said, as you do the work and you continue to do the work, you start to move through it a lot faster.
I love it. I think after certain experiences that can be particularly traumatizing to people and your clients,
Yeah.
what is beyond this is there a way to like get out of that victim mentality? Like what would be a first step for that?
I think it always goes back to reconnecting with yourself. We do a lot of mirror work. We do a lot of work subconsciously, and a lot of the subconscious work that we do. And I take my clients through what's called more of like a Gestalt process, which is more like some psychosomatic work that we do. But they, in essence, connect with their inner child. We do a lot of work around connecting with your inner child. What needs weren't being met back then, where you can bring that into the present moment and really nurture, reparent, sometimes reparent that child and bring that into your present moment. And not only that, but even your future self, because you're still growing, you're still developing, you're still evolving. And so as a human, we have hopes, we have dreams, we have things that we want to see for ourselves. And so a lot of that subconscious work is also connecting them with that vision of their higher self and what they want to see. And so having that conversation to really again ground them and connect them back into the present moment.
Yeah, so good. I love the work you're doing. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for helping women who are out of the closet, women who are still in the closet. It's important. It's work I wish I had. And I know that someone listening to this podcast today is going to be like, okay, this is my sign. I need to seek support. How would they contact you, Britt?
Well, you can come to my page. It's Britt Barton Coaching, and I connect with everybody on DM. So just DM me just tell me you saw me on with Sophia. You can put Sophia in the chat. That's all you have to write. And I'll be more than happy to reach out to you. I reach out to everybody personally and connect with you all, and we can go from there. And we can schedule a call, and I'll get you on a call, and we can just talk about what you need to start your journey and get you back into a better place.
I love that. And typically, do people work with you one on one, or do you have a group program? What does that look like?
Both. So yeah,
Both.
so it's one-on-one coaching, and then I also have a community. So we come together as a group and we just support each other in just this beautiful way as well. So yeah, it's both.
I love it. Okay, community is
It
everything. That's
is.
one thing that I've learned in my world. Community is
It
everything.
it really is, especially for women. I think we need it. Like I find you can really get it in with gay men. I think they do it so well. And I find even within the transgender community, they're coming up, they have a lot of groups and things like that. Sometimes it's a little bit harder for women. I think we can tend to be a little bit shyer and sometimes just not as open. And so my goal, and even with my wife, I'm like, come on, girl, like, let's get to the other side, because our goal is to create a supportive community around women.
Yeah, I can definitely see that trend in my life since I was a child, just like not having the trust with women. Because you have like that one traumatic moment where like your 5-year-old best friend betrays you and you never see women the same.
Yep.
Yes. One thing that I can say I'm proud of is my lesbian dating platform. Like, it is community based. It is so community based, and it's strong and it's thriving, and that being a part of that, even though like I'm the creator, I'm just as much an individual inside of it, where I'm just learning from everyone and just loving the energy. It's so amazing.
Oh, that is amazing. And trust me, I'm always thinking about you, because I do have clients that are like, I'm looking to date. And I'm like, I might know somebody. So
yes, if you're listening and you came from Britt's audience, I have the Queer Country Club. It's a monogamous lesbian dating platform. So as long as you don't identify as a man and you know you want to have one wife for life, join DME Dating. So thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for sharing so vulnerably. And if you could leave the audience with something powerful, I am to go forward and to start replacing those thoughts, Britt, what would that be today?
that would be, tap into yourself, call yourself by your name, and ask yourself, even just looking in the mirror today, just ask yourself, what do I need? So I would ask myself, what does Britt need today? And see what that answer is, and then give that to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your energy. Like, I genuinely loved it. Not just saying that. I'm like just so happy to know you.
Likewise.
And let me know when you're in my area. But also, I've got to email you now, because I'm sometimes.
You're so funny. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've shared so much with you. Something just came out of my mouth.
I know. Look, hey, no obligation to share anything else. Especially when you're working with, a relationship with someone who's in the closet, I totally understand the sacredness around protecting their identity. Like, I have had so many women that I've talked to be like, oh, what's your ex's names? And I'm like, no, because we protect, especially when someone's in a situation where they may not be safe if they come out, right? Like, that's so important.
And I truly feel that might be the case here. And so I just hold such a special place for those types of people, because you never know a person's situation.
That is the truth. And if you're listening to this and somehow you found this podcast because I'm a later in life lesbian, and you found it because Britt helps women who are coming out late in life, and you just needed to hear someone say it's going to be okay. I hope you got that from listening to this episode. It will be okay. Do not rush yourself to come out. I always am talking about come out. But like, if it is not safe for you, you do exactly what Britt just said. Ask yourself what you need and how you can stay safe, and find someone to talk to, which is going to be Britt. Okay. Have an amazing day, Britt. Bye, fam.
Take care.
As queer women, that's women with an X, because of course we are inclusive here. As I was saying, as queer women, we haven't always been lifted up or celebrated. We have often felt left out and put down in places that historically haven't welcomed us. In fact, we have been conditioned by society to be grateful for mere tolerance. My resilient LGBTQ plus IA community, I am talking to you. I'll bet you've recognized the spark that God put in your heart, your unique calling to impact the world in only a way that you can. A business idea, a brand to build, a coaching program to start, the art to create, the song to sing, the book to write, that relationship you long to build. But that little light inside your soul has often been blown out by the people around you, leaving you conditioned to play small and not step into your full potential. You are not alone. and it's never too late to truly live your most authentic dream life. I would know. I came out late in life, nearly 30, a couple years ago, after being bullied for months inside a country club. Right outside of my weights class, I was assaulted by a bigoted woman who couldn't stand my queerness. She physically pushed me, so I had a meeting with management. I told them I didn't feel safe. I brought forth evidence, and guess what? They did nothing. Sadly, this is normal. But in order to create change, we have to be brave enough to be the change ourselves. So I did a thing. I started my own virtual country club for queer women, a safe place for us to create meaningful connections and grow. So if you're looking for a love connection, networking opportunities, or coaching to live your best freedom life, you want to apply to be a part of our incredible community of purpose-driven, passionate queer women. Join Queer Women Rising, the online queer country club for growth-minded women ready to level up in life and love. To apply, DM me the word rising on Instagram at SophiaSpallino or chat me the word rising on SophiaSpallino.com. Now, beyond hosting Queer Women Rising, I am a personal brand coach and social media strategist. If you give me a moment to tell you about what I do, I can share how I can help you, just like I've helped many clients before get famous online and make more money. If you're an exhausted coach or service provider, ready to scale your business for real, or you're just getting started building your dream brand from scratch, and if you're ready to build your own profitable personal brand, I can show you how in 6 months or less. But why should you take my word for it? Well, I've spent over 10 years in the social media marketing industry, amassing over 400,000 followers across platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as hosting a top charting podcast, building a successful service provider business, and coaching powerful women to build purpose-driven, profitable personal brands. Yeah, I have the social media and sales process strategies that can help you finally make the money you deserve. Because I want to help you build your dream business that gives you time, freedom, and makes real money. So for a limited time, I'm giving away your first steps to go from less than 5K months and advance to 10 to 20K months. Grab my newly revamped Profitable Personal Brand Blueprint, my proven framework to build yourself a personal brand that motivates, inspires, and sells so that your business can thrive the way it should. Just go to the link in the show notes. Whether you're a novice at creating or you're feeling stuck, hitting a plateau in your business that once had consistent revenue, and need guidance, support, and coaching to get to your next level, I invite you to book a strategy call to speak with either me or my team to see if we'd be the right fit to work with each other inside of the Profitable Personal Brand 6-month coaching program. Mind you, I am extremely selective, and this coaching program is not for everyone, and I'm not afraid to say it. I am only taking on serious, purpose-driven, and committed queer women and allies inside of my community. If that's you, book your free strategy call. The link is in the show notes. And if you feel yourself come alive and love listening to Queer Women Rising, please leave me a 5-star rating with a kind review wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to share the show with a powerful woman you know. And remember, when you're called to do something greater in life, love, or business, you will be uncomfortable until you move. So get up and go get what you want. Let's rise.